Alright guys, let me just say this up front. The coldest air of the season is officially on the move, and it's about to flip the switch on fall in a big way. We're talking about a powerful blast of Arctic air diving straight out of Canada, charging across the plains, and sweeping all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Yeah, even the Florida Panhandle might wake up to a freeze by Tuesday morning. It's that serious. Now, if you look at the big picture across North America right now, you can see all that brutally cold air just bottled up in northern Canada, sitting there, waiting, like a coiled spring. And this weekend, that spring snaps. Saturday is when it really starts to unleash southward. Out west, we're still hanging on to some warmth. Temperatures there will stay above average for a bit longer, especially across the southwest. But everything east of the Rockies, that's where the battle begins. You can almost feel the tension building as the cold air starts its charge out of Canada. By Saturday, that first wave of cold will help kick off some snow across Montana, then spread through the Dakotas, into Minnesota, and across Iowa. By late Saturday night into Sunday morning, that snow band should reach Wisconsin and eventually swing into Chicago, Detroit, northern Indiana, and yes, even Cleveland might see its first flakes of the season. And on the backside of that system, lake effect snow is going to start firing up hard across parts of Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Now here's where things get really wild. Behind all that snow, we've got a piece of the polar vortex itself sliding south. I'm not exaggerating. It's not January. It's only the second week of November. But this air mass is so cold, it'll feel like midwinter just showed up uninvited. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. This is true Arctic air. Dense, dry, and biting. As it pours southward, high pressure will surge in behind it, tightening up those isobars and cranking up the north winds. Gusts could hit 30 to 40 miles per hour in spots, making those already cold temperatures feel brutal. And since most of us haven't really felt air this cold yet this season, it's going to hit even harder. Your body's just not acclimated to it yet. We're talking single-digit wind chills across the Dakotas Sunday morning, teens in Iowa and Missouri, and feels like temps dropping into the 20s as far south as Kansas and northern Texas. Even Dallas could feel like the mid-40s, while actual air temps hover in the 50s. That's how intense the cold advection will be. And as this air mass keeps spilling south, it's going to leave its mark. By Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at widespread hard freezes across Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Tennessee. The 20s stretch deep into the south, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. And yes, even parts of Texas will flirt with freezing temps. If you're outside the city, you could easily see frost on your windshield by sunrise. But it doesn't stop there. That polar vortex energy keeps pushing southeast, and by Tuesday morning, the chill reaches all the way down into Georgia and the Florida Panhandle. I'm talking upper 20s and low 30s across areas that usually don't even think about frost this early. Savannah around 29, Tallahassee near 28, and Tampa waking up to 37 degrees. That's astonishing for November. Meanwhile, across the Great Lakes and into the Appalachians, snow showers will linger. It won't be a blockbuster snowstorm, but we could see a few inches in spots, especially in areas catching lake effect or elevation-driven bands, West Virginia. Western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern Maine should all get in on the action. The Euro and GFS models are both lining up pretty well on this one, showing that same sweeping snow swath starting in Montana and pushing all the way east through the Midwest before, wrapping into the Northeast. And with Arctic air this dry, any moisture that does lift is going to fall as snow. But here's the thing, this isn't just about the snow, it's about the shock to your system. Because by next weekend, after this brutal cold snap moves through, that same jet stream pattern snaps back. The ridge builds in behind it, and temperatures rebound fast. We could go from hard freezes to 80 degrees in Dallas within 5 days. That's not a seasonal change. That's weather whiplash. We're only in early November, but winter is knocking on the door way earlier than usual. In fact, within the next week, the first true Arctic blast of the season is set to roar down from Canada. And once that air settles in across the northern half of the US, It's not leaving anytime soon. I'm talking daytime highs in the teens and single digits across parts of the upper Midwest, with overnight lows plunging below zero around North Dakota, Minnesota, and northern Wisconsin. You'll feel that first sting of winter before Thanksgiving even gets here. Now let's talk snowfall, because this year, I think snow lovers are in for a treat. The northern tier of the country, especially the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, looks absolutely primed for above normal snowfall. We're already seeing the pattern lining up for a persistent trough across the eastern half of the country, which means cold air is going to keep diving south again and again. Every one of those Arctic fronts brings moisture behind it, and you know what that means. Wave after wave of snow. If you're in Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan, buckle up. I'm forecasting totals that could easily run 25 to 40% above average by the time we wrap up February. That means Minneapolis could be looking at 70 to 80 inches of snow, possibly even flirting with the kind of numbers we saw back in 2013, when it felt like the snow just never stopped. Over in Green Bay, we could be talking 75 inches or more. And for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, particularly Marquette, get ready for over 200 inches by season's end. I'm serious. The lake effect setup looks incredible this year, with those Great Lakes staying warmer than average through November, which will supercharge those snow bands once the cold air really pours in. Now, let's shift east. The Ohio Valley and the interior Northeast. You guys are in the crosshairs for some serious snow this winter. Think Cleveland, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. You're all on my watch list. The Great Lakes Storm Track is going to be very active, sending frequent clipper systems right through the region. Buffalo could easily exceed 110 inches, especially if we get a couple of big lake effect events early on. Syracuse and Rochester might not be far behind. Cleveland, I'm thinking 65 to 75 inches this winter, which is a solid jump above your average. And let's not forget the big cities of the Northeast Corridor. New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. This year looks colder and snowier than what we've seen in recent winters. The coastal storms, those classic nor'easters, could make a major comeback. If you're in Boston, expect 55 to 65 inches by the time we hit March. New York City, I think you're looking at a respectable 30 to 40 inches, maybe even more if we get a few well-timed coastal systems. Philadelphia, probably around 25 inches, which is above average for you guys. And even DC might sneak out a few solid snow events, maybe 10 to 15 inches total. But that's still a nice rebound from the weak winters we've seen lately. Now, swing it over to the central US and the plains. And here's where it gets interesting. With that colder pattern locked in place, I expect a steady stream of snow events running from the Dakotas all the way down into Kansas and even northern Oklahoma. Fargo could be looking at 70 inches this season, Bismarck maybe closer to 80 inches, and even Kansas City could end up with 20 to 25 inches, which is definitely above average. The Rockies, as always, are going to get hammered. Colorado's Front Range is shaping up for a monster year. Denver could see 65 inches or more, while the mountains rack up totals that'll have the ski resorts cheering. Aspen, Vail, and Steamboat, all likely to see well over 300 inches by the end of February. The Wasatch Range in Utah, same story. Another big powder year with 400 plus inches possible. Let's talk about the Pacific Northwest for a second. I know you guys have had some mild winters lately, but this year looks colder and stormier for you too. Seattle could see a few surprise snowfalls in December and January. Not huge totals, maybe 6 to 10 inches overall. But for you, that's notable. Portland might pick up 5 to 8 inches, and the Cascades are going to absolutely explode with snow. Over 500 inches in the higher elevations by spring. Down south, it's a whole different story. But even there, I think we'll see some surprises. The Southern Plains and the Deep South could catch a few rare snow or ice events this year, especially in January and February. Dallas might get 2 to 4 inches spread over a couple of storms. Nashville and Memphis expect 8 to 12 inches combined, which is above average. Even parts of northern Georgia and the Carolinas could see some snowflakes flying this winter. Atlanta might see 1 or 2 brief snow events. Maybe an inch or two if the cold lines up just right. All right. If you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, leave your region or city in the comments. I'll answer them individually as I have time. Commenting is completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.